What do you do when you're doing everything right and it still feels like nothing is working? What do you do when you're using the keywords, posting at the right time, staying consistent, showing up, doing the work, and the views are still low? What do you do when the silence starts trying to tell you a story about yourself? Because some days I look at my YouTube views and think, Lord, is anybody watching besides my family? And they only watch because they feel bad for me? If you've ever felt discouraged in the middle of doing something you really care about, this episode is for you. And before we get into it, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I'm on day 83 out of 100 days of posting every day, and I'd love for you to come along with me. Welcome back to Ways of Change. I'm Vanessa, and this is day 83 out of 100 days of posting every day. Today I did not submit any job applications, but I did complete my engagement hour on LinkedIn, and I made a few more connections, and that matters. Stella says hello. Because every connection matters, every conversation matters, every seed planted matters. And maybe that's part of what today is really about. Because sometimes growth doesn't look exciting. Sometimes growth looks like a quiet day, a low view video, a small step, a little progress nobody sees but you. And when you're building something, especially online, it can be really easy to start measuring your worth by what appears to be happening on the surface. But today's quote reminded me of something I needed to hear. The win is coming. Don't let the win distract you. That right there, that'll preach. Let's just start here. My views on YouTube are incredibly low. And some days I'm okay with that. Some days I could laugh it off. Some days I can focus on the bigger picture. Some days I can remind myself that this is a long game. But then there are days, Mama said there'd be days like this, when it gets in my head. There are days when I wonder if I'm talking to myself. Days when I wonder if I'm doing all of this for 5 people. Days when I start questioning everything. Should I be changing the titles again? Should I be posting at a different time? Should I be doing shorter videos? Should I be doing longer videos? Should I change the thumbnails? Is the niche off? Is the message off? Am I off? And that's the part people don't always talk about. Low numbers don't just affect your channel. They can start trying to affect your confidence. Because if you're not careful, the numbers will try to turn into meaning. A low number starts feeling like low value. A slow season starts feeling like failure. A quiet response starts feeling like rejection. But that's not the truth. A low view count is data. It's not your identity. A slow season is a season. It's not a verdict. A delayed result is not the same thing as a denied promise. I think that's why this quote hit me right here. Because sometimes it's not the dream that exhausts you. It's the timeline. It's the not knowing. It's wondering, when is this going to click? When are the right people going to find my channel? When is the consistency going to pay off? When is the effort going to finally reflect back to me? That when can wear you out. Not because you don't believe in what you're doing, but because waiting is hard. Especially when you're trying to be faithful, especially when it feels like the results are moving slower than your effort. Sometimes that win becomes such a distraction that you stop noticing what the process is doing in you. It's building patience. It's building discipline. It's building resilience. It's building grit. It's building faith. And those things matter too. Because not every season is a season of showing. Some seasons are a season of shaping. And shaping seasons don't always look impressive from the outside. This is the question that came to me today. What if it isn't random? Because YouTube can absolutely feel random. You optimize, you post, you research, you try to improve, you stay consistent, and still the numbers can unpredictable. Unpredictable. So naturally you start thinking maybe none of this makes sense. But what if it only looks random? Because you can't yet see the full picture. What if every video is building a library? What if every upload is helping refine your voice? What if every low view video is teaching you how to keep going without instant validation? What if every day you show up is preparing you to carry the very thing you keep asking for? Because everybody wants the visible win, to tell the truth. But not everybody is ready to carry it. And maybe that's what the season is doing. Maybe this is not punishment. Maybe this is preparation. Maybe this is not proof that nothing is happening. Maybe this is proof that something is happening underground. Seeds don't look dramatic underground. Roots don't get applause underground. Foundation work is rarely exciting to people watching from the outside. But underground work still matters. In fact, it may matter the most. Discouragement is real, y'all. It is. And when you care deeply about something and it seems like it's not moving, discouragement will show up. Poof. But discouragement doesn't get to write the final report. It can visit, but it can't stay. It can speak, but it doesn't get the final word. Because discouragement is often just a temporary emotional reaction, pretending to be a permanent truth. And it's not. You can feel discouraged and still be called. You could feel tired and still be aligned. You could feel unseen and still be making impact. You could feel uncertain and still be on the right path. That matters, because a lot of people quit not because they lack talent, but because they misread the season. They thought slow meant wrong. They thought quiet meant pointless. They thought hidden meant forgotten. And I just don't believe that. I believe some of the holiest work we do happens in seasons where we have to keep showing up without immediate reward. That's where endurance is built. That's where your identity gets stronger. That's where you learn whether you're attached to the mission or just the applause. The scripture anchor for this episode is Galatians 6 and 9, a very familiar one for this channel. Let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap, if we faint not. That scripture is such a lifeline for me because it doesn't say you'll reap immediately. It says in due season. That means there's a season for sowing and a season for reaping, a season for planting, and a season for visible fruit. A season where you keep watering something before you see any evidence that it's working. And that doesn't mean it's dead. It doesn't mean it's pointless. It doesn't mean it's forgotten. It means it's not harvest time yet. And maybe some of us need that reminder. I know I need that reminder. Because when you're in a sowing season, your assignment is not to panic every 5 minutes. Your assignment is to keep sowing, to keep showing up, to keep learning, to keep refining, to keep trusting, to keep planting. Because due season is not late, it's right on time. Another thing I'm learning is that maybe the win, W-I-N, is bigger than the number. Because I want my views to go up. Of course I want growth. Of course I want momentum. But maybe the win is also this: becoming someone who doesn't quit every time she feels overlooked. Becoming someone who stays committed even when external reinforcement is low. Becoming someone who no longer measures her worth by analytics. Becoming someone who could build quietly, faithfully, steadily. That's a win too. And sometimes the internal win comes before the external one. Sometimes the spirit gets strengthened before the platform gets expanded. And honestly, that might be mercy. Because a big opportunity without grounding can crush people. I've seen it. A bigger platform without maturity can confuse people. A bigger spotlight without inner stability can expose what hasn't been healed. Have you seen that? So maybe this slower season is not just about what I'm building. Maybe it's about who I'm becoming while I build it. So this is what I'm reminding myself of today. Low views don't mean low value. Slow growth doesn't mean no growth. Quiet seasons are not empty seasons. And just because I can't measure all the movement doesn't mean movement is not happening. And just because I don't know when doesn't mean the when isn't coming. Today I didn't submit an application, but I did show up. I completed my engagement hour on LinkedIn. I made a few more connections. I kept building. I kept moving. And sometimes that's the win for the day. Sometimes the victory is simply this: you didn't give up. I didn't give up. So if you're watching this, and if you're in a waiting season too, this part is for you. Maybe your business is quiet. Maybe your healing feels slow. Maybe your dream feels delayed. Maybe your progress isn't visible yet. Maybe you're doing all the right things and still wondering why it's taking so long. Please don't let the timeline make you disrespect your own effort. Don't let the delay convince you that what you're building has no value. And please don't let the win, W-H-E-N, distract you from who you're becoming in the process. Because some wins take longer because they are meant to last. And some seasons aren't empty. They're just hidden. So grab your pen, paper, journals. It's time for the journaling prompts of the day. Journal prompt number 1. Where in my life am I allowing frustration with the timeline to distract me from the progress I'm actually making? Prompt 2. If I truly believed the win was coming, how would I choose to show up differently in this season? Take some time with these, because sometimes the shift doesn't begin with the outcome. Sometimes it begins with what you choose to believe while you wait. So friend, that's day 83. We still showed up. We're still building. We're still learning. We're still trusting. And I'm still reminding myself that the win is coming. And I can't afford to let the win distract me. If this episode resonated with you, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And in the comments, tell me this. What is something in your life that you're still believing for, even though it hasn't happened yet? Let's encourage each other. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 84. I'm Vanessa, and this is Ways of Change.